Oh, what's going on, beautiful people out there? My name's Shammy D, and we're back with another Bundle Roundtable. Y'all, listen, we got some amazing guests for y'all because that's how we do here at Pricing IO. So, to get this party started, I need to hand it off to the man that's about to hold it down for the next almost hour. Give it up to the one, the only, Marcos Rivera!
DJ Shammy, you are dropping it as always. Thank you for the intro and welcome everyone to the next round of the bundle. I'm Marcos Rivera, author, CEO of Pricing IO. Today, we're going to get into it. I am bringing together a small group of, call them thought leaders, call them pioneers, call them whatever you want, but they know what they're talking about, right? We're going to cover some really key topics today in pricing, especially in B2B SaaS, and I cannot wait to dive in. All right, so here we go. Let me introduce the first and only person on the bundle who not only is part of Reforge as a mentor, and by the way, if you haven't looked up Reforge, they are the real deal. You're also former head of growth at Evernote. She was also, I would call, a pioneer in PLG, in SaaS. She'll probably deny it, but I'm still going to pump it up. And currently a partner at Menlo Ventures. Welcome to the show, Naomi.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you. People they're going to get their minds blown with some of the things you're going to say today. I know it. All right. This next guest on the bundle here, this person, 10 years in revenue management, but not just in any revenue management, across all sorts of sectors, CPG, digital, you name it. Currently, the director of sales ops at Rakuten Kobo. Please give it up for Karan Sood. Karan, thank you for coming, man.
Thanks, Marcus. Great to be here in great company.
And last but not least, we have the creator of Growth Unhinged, which, by the way, y'all, if you have not subscribed to Growth Unhinged, it is worth the read. Lots of great, juicy content in there. He's also the former director at Simon Kucher and operating partner at OpenView. You guys, give it up for the one, the only, the real Kyle Poyer. Welcome to the bundle.
I need DJ Shammy in my life 24/7. That's awesome.
We should all have walkout music for every meeting that we're in. I'm telling you right now, it just makes the day go by.
Just for waking up in the morning. I mean,
everybody. Agree, man. Thanks for being here. You guys, we are going to have a lot of fun in this conversation today. So lots to talk about in pricing, in SaaS pricing, and we are thinking through a couple of the biggest topics today. But rather than just feed you with a couple of different questions, we're going to run this differently, okay? We're going to take a different approach. And what I like to play is a bit of a game I call the pricing pyramid. You have these pyramid of mixtapes. I'm totally dating myself, right? But the idea here is we have these topics that are hidden behind 90s hip hop songs. And the idea behind this is really, let's just get into a topic and then let's riff on it together, all of us, for a little bit, and then give people something juicy to take away at the end. And we're going to go to the next one. Very, very simple. All right. We're going to keep it open. We're going to keep it flowing. But who's going to go first? That's the big question. And here's the answer. The person that's going to go first, we're going to play a game from the distance from San Diego, which is where I hail, where I'm at. So I'm in San Diego. Where are y'all? And then we'll pick the person who is the closest to San Diego. All right. Let me do a quick round robin here. Kyle, since you're, where are you at from San Diego?
I'm in Boston. Very far, spiritually, from San Diego.
In a lot of ways. Kyle is in Boston. All right, that's a decent flight away. Kieran, where are you, man?
Toronto, Canada.
You're in Toronto.
Yeah.
That is not close either to San Diego. That is a decent ways. Naomi, I'm gonna ask you where you're at. I'm wondering if you're at
San Francisco.
San Francisco. You guys. So it tells me that, Naomi, you're going to be going first in the bundle. You're going to pick the first song. Kieran, do you want to go second? And then we'll put Kyle for the end? That sounds good. I think it's relative distance is still pretty far between the two of you. We'll do in that order. Naomi, so let me introduce the topics to you real quick, all right? We have PLG till infinity, all right? A riff off of 93 till infinity. We have scenario, or so what's the scenario, that old song. Give me the loot. There's another one here. Put your hands where my eyes can see. Mama said knock you out. And then the last song, the old Tupac, keep your head up. All right. So looking at these 6 different jams, your choice, which topic do you want to get into first for the bundle?
Ooh, what about biggest predictions for 2024?
Ooh, okay. So that's going to be scenario. Man, I remember when this came out, people were jumping all around. Okay, the question. What's the scenario? What is your biggest prediction in 2024 that will impact SaaS pricing? We'll start with you.
We're just getting into the new year, so this is top of mind for people. And for me, it's 100% the shift from the old seat-based pricing paradigm to more usage-based and hybrid pricing models. This is getting the whole market on this journey towards true value-based pricing. I'm so obsessed with this topic, having been an operator and built a lot of these pieces of infrastructure in-house to iterate on our pricing and packaging, that actually led our investment in a company called Orb, which is the most flexible usage-based billing engine for modern pricing. So you can charge by seat, by one or more value metrics, or a hybrid approach, and they'll handle your metering, billing, pricing and packaging iteration, invoicing, revenue recognition, and all of it. So I think we have this trend towards usage-based and hybrid models in parallel with the rise of AI. So a lot of these AI companies are thinking about how do we price? The thing about changing your pricing is oftentimes the accelerant is either out of necessity or opportunity. In necessity, in this macro environment that's pretty soft and there's more layoffs, the seat-based model doesn't work anymore. That lever for expansion no longer exists for companies. So the necessity here is to shift to more of a usage-based model and think about how to match price to value on that user's journey. The opportunity side of things is where the AI market is. These are drivers of launching new pieces of infrastructure, new features, new ways to really capture users. And so AI infrastructure companies are in this land grab mode. They want to be the core picks and shovels as the modern AI stack is being solidified. A few quick examples there. I'm sure you guys probably saw, but there were two of the foundation model companies, Mistral and Together. Mistral launched their newest pricing model at $2 per million tokens back in December, and within hours, Together dropped theirs to 60 cents per million tokens. I want to share that example because it's like this immediate reactive nature of where we are as an industry and people really using this opportunistic lever to use pricing to gain market share.
Wow, there's so much to unpack in those predictions, right? The first one, basically, you're saying that seat pricing is dead. Is that what you're telling me? That it's on its way out?
I think hybrid is still alive. So a pure usage-based model can be hard to pull off. The CFO on the buy side is going to say, I want predictability. I don't want to sign a contract on something where the price is going to run away from us. So I think a hybrid model where your value metrics and quota limits are kind of baked into specific subscription tiers. Sometimes a seat-based component is embedded within that, but oftentimes it's coupled with this idea of usage metrics around things like events or API calls.
I love that. It also raises the heat a bit. I mean, I want to invite Kieran and Kyle here in a second, but think about this, right? If you're relying on people to use your product in order for you to get paid, then there's nowhere for you to hide. You have to add value, and you have to demonstrate that consistently and make it very clear that the more you do, the more you use, the more you get. Obviously, the more you pay. And if your product is not up to snuff, if it's not delivering value, if it's not delivering on the promise, people aren't going to use it. You're not going to get paid. It's almost a push towards a survival of the fittest, if you think about it that way. But Kieran, I'm going to ask you to come in here, and then I'm going to ask Kyle in a sec. Kieran, what do you think about the predictions from Naomi, or do you have your own?
No, I think I largely agree in part with what she mentioned, but I don't think the seat-based pricing is dead in the water yet. There are certain products where seat-based pricing will only make sense. So you're talking about like things like Calendly, like it only makes you book appointments. So it's very seat-based. You're not gonna have a lot of outcome based or user based there. So there's going to be that portion of it mostly, or even productivity tools, Asana, Monday, they're all very seed based in general, right? They have value metrics that are easy, they're not too hard to quantify, but aligning people to pay for those value metrics is obviously tough. So there's going to be a group of SaaS products that will require seat based, but there's going to be a huge wave, as Naomi mentioned, of people going into hybrid. Hybrid will be required. Number of employees are shrinking. They want to get done more with a fewer number of employees. The usage was always that. The seat base was always in this conflict zone where people wanted more done with fewer seats. And guess what? You'll get more done with fewer seats, but there's also already a usage metric attached to it. So you'll still need to ante up more. Companies that are moving to hybrid will be in a pretty good state, but it will also require a lot of retooling. Like there's going to be, to what Naomi mentioned, like Orb, I think, helps you with billing and refiguring your pricing strategy, I think. So a lot will depend upon how good your tools are. You can't use the tools that worked last year with new sort of usage-based and outcome-based pricing for next year. So I think a lot of people need to retool themselves. But largely, I do agree with what she said. I think that's usage is. I think eventually it will go to outcome-based pricing, but I think usage is a step in between that we have to get to.
So it's just another step towards outcome-based ultimately. It's kind of where we're heading, right?
I think eventually where pricing will go.
No, that's bold, man. That's bold. But you know what? Already twice now you guys have mentioned hybrid, and I'm a big fan of hybrid, frankly. But the idea of hybrid works only if you don't make it overly freaking complicated, like in my mind. Right? If you make it too complicated, people are just going to turn off here. Kyle, I want you to weigh in here. What do you think about this notion of the seat going down, usage going up, this hybrid thing, this AI thing? I want you to weigh in.
Yeah, I mean, I have a slightly different perspective. So I've been predicting the rise of usage-based pricing for the past like 3 years or so. And it's certainly increased in adoption, both in usage-based and more creative hybrid models. And the reasons why are clear, right? It reduces the risk for customers. They're only paying when they're actually using this thing. Like they're not paying for shelfware or making big, upfront purchases for something that doesn't get adopted. It also corresponds better to the value that customers receive from the products. But ultimately, usage-based pricing is limited. In my mind, usage-based pricing is a stepping stone towards where we want to go that Karan alluded to. Ultimately, software products generally only capture about 5 to 10% of the economic value they create for customers. Right. So if you do the math and the ROI, the revenue you generate, the cost you save, the time you save, it's only about 5 to 10% of that is actually captured by technology companies. And the reason why is because, first off, customers don't believe in it. And second is the pricing model doesn't scale well, right? So a lot of times people have to commit and pay upfront before they realize that ultimate outcome. But imagine if you could actually charge based on the outcomes that these products have been generating for customers. Historically, we wouldn't have said that was possible because we were thinking about software-focused businesses. But when you think about AI-first businesses, instead of these products as being things that human beings have to log into or have to have access to and pay for a seat license for, these are things that work often in the background, and they automate jobs or work that would usually be work done by people. And now all of a sudden, this is technology in some sort of combination of software and AI. And so we're actually able to hire AI to solve the problem that we have in a way that's way cheaper than doing it ourselves. Cheaper both because we benefit from the software itself and we actually save money on the headcount. And so imagine you're paying AI for a job to be done. Don't you want to pay for the outcomes or the benefits of those jobs as an alternative to paying based on how much that AI is used or how much it costs, from a compute or a licensing standpoint, or how many people are logging into the AI products? And we have a portfolio company called ChargeFlow that's AI-based chargeback management. And they take this chargeback fraud problem that small merchants just today don't respond to. They're often not set up to manage all of the documentation to dispute these chargebacks. And ChargeFlow just integrates with systems, runs those chargebacks on the merchant's behalf, and takes 25% of whatever revenue they're able to generate for customers. So they charge nothing if the product even is being used but isn't generating outcomes, and the customer only pays once they're successful. I don't know if it'll get mainstream in 2024. It's too disruptive for established legacy incumbents, right? There's too much risk involved, and many of them might have to admit that their products aren't generating these outcomes for customers. But for new AI plus software businesses, they're going to have the flexibility to offer these models. And I suspect it's going to be a really compelling value proposition to start to gain share in this market.
I love that Kyle pushed us here. I thought of this with Intercom when they launched Fin, their AI bot, and they charge on a per resolution basis. So it is a true success-based pricing model. And that's the ultimate way to kind of bet on yourself as a company and say, I'm in true alignment with my customers. I only get paid. I only win when they win. I'm with you, though, that I don't know if this is a 2024 kind of mass adoption thing. I think AI adoption is still in its early days. And but I love that you pushed us here, and I really think ultimately we're going to see a lot more of this.
I think
I'm
you're a few
putting the
years
prediction
away.
I hope exists into the world.
It will exist in the future. Like, think about this. We remember the time when we actually sold software on premise, and it was actually not a software as a service. And then someone came along and said, Salesforce or Zura and all these guys came along, hey, it doesn't have to be annual billing, it doesn't have to be a software on premise, it just can be in the cloud. And it took us 10 years to get there. And then value-based pricing in itself, which we sort of talk about now, was started in 1990. It took us like 2010 before it became mainstream. So usage and outcome is there. I think we're good that we're having a discussion and building the frameworks around it, but it's going to be a while before people realize that, hey, you can actually surgically take apart what outcome did your service deliver versus what was general business outcome. Like you can, it happens a lot, right? Like people say, hey, okay, you delivered $10 million in value, but $3 million, that was just organic growth that would have come anyhow. So how do you surgically remove that and just say, hey, this is what the image impact of the service was or SaaS was? And I think we'll get there, just a couple of years away. But
I think this model wouldn't have been even possible with traditional software because software require not just the technology, but people to use the technology to generate the outcomes. And so if you were to charge based on business outcomes, you're essentially saying, hey, our software gets 100% credit for this thing that happened, when really it was the people using the software in the right way that is ultimately generating the outcomes. If you charged on that model, you'd set up a ton of friction with your customers, where all of a sudden you're fighting over attribution rather than just celebrating a shared success. But with AI being able to close the loop here and drive incrementally more value around the entire business process itself versus taking a piece of the business process, I think that's the unlock for being able to move to outcome pricing.
Here. Listen, you were getting a little Skynet on me for a minute there as I was listening to you, right? But I think at the end of the day, I think it's a reality we have to face, is that the AI will mature, it will continue to address use cases and adding more direct value. And that attribution of value starts to get a little bit clearer over time. Whereas beforehand, it's like, yeah, it wasn't your tool, it was me, I did it. So it's my value. So how much do I pay you? So that connection starts to bridge over time. That's pretty bold. I love it. I love that you brought it here. Guys, we're going to wrap up this topic here. The one thing you want people to take away from your prediction in 2024 for pricing SaaS, give it to me in one line. Go ahead, Kyle, you'll go first.
My one line would be, don't let the past or competitive pricing models dictate how you monetize your product.
Ooh, I like that one. Kieran, give me the one takeaway.
I think figure out what your SaaS growth motion is going to be this year. There's a lot of talk of different motions and how you got to all live in harmony, but you got to also figure out which one works best for you. So figure that out in 2024.
Commit to the motion. I like that. Naomi, one from you.
I would say immediately implement the infrastructure that lets you actually iterate on your pricing and packaging. Otherwise, you're stuck in the past and leaving a lot on the table. So,
put in the infrastructure. Do the dirty work. Get it done now, right? I get it.
Set it up from the beginning so you don't have to have a whole engineering team dedicated towards this stuff.
I love it.
It's all fun and games until someone says you actually have to put in work to do any of these things.
Real word, this stuff is not going to fall in your lap. I agree with you guys.
This is how we chill from 93 This is how we chill from 93
Thank y'all for tuning in. We got to shout out our guests. Yo, listen, they were dropping so many gems. I felt like I had to hit some of those funk flex bombs. It was incredible. Another amazing roundtable for y'all. Listen, before we close it out, we want to know, what do you want to hear next? Let us know down below what you thought about it. If there's another topic you want to know about, let us know. We're going to try to work it in for the next one. So stay tuned for the next one. Until the next time, y'all. Peace.
No sleep. I work fitting jerks, get their hoes sweet under their noses. This bro's quick to hit blunts and flip once I'm